It was the winter of 1777. Snow blanketed the hills of Pennsylvania, and the American army, tired, hungry, and nearly barefoot, made camp at a place called Valley Forge. We often imagine history as grand, moments of glory, epic battles, sweeping victories, and larger-than-life heroes. But the story of Valley Forge, it's a story about quiet, unyielding endurance. There were no parades here, no celebratory music, no bright flags waving in the wind. There were just men farmers, blacksmiths, and boys barely old enough to shave, huddled together, trying to survive the bitter cold. The war had already dragged on for 2 long, grueling years. Supplies were dangerously short. Food was scarce, often just a tasteless mix of flour and water. Many soldiers wrapped their feet in rags because they had no shoes, leaving bloody footprints in the snow from their cracked, frozen feet. And yet they stayed. Under the steadfast leadership of General George Washington, they built crude huts from logs and mud, stood guard in the freezing dark, and trained relentlessly. They weren't training for a glorious victory at that moment, but simply for survival. Washington himself walked among his men every single day, not as a distant, untouchable commander, but as one of them. He felt their fears, he shared their hunger, and he held onto their flickering hope. He prayed not for a swift triumph, but for the strength to keep going, to endure just one more day. And then something truly remarkable happened. From all that immense suffering, a new kind of discipline emerged. From that shared hardship, an unbreakable unity was forged. By the time the first signs of spring thawed the frozen ground, the ragged army that had stumbled into Valley Forge had transformed. They were ready to march out stronger, more professional, and more determined than ever before, ready to face the most powerful empire in the world once again. Most of those soldiers never became famous. You won't find their names in the pages of most textbooks, but they carried the weight of a young nation's dream on their frozen shoulders. So, the next time you think about the birth of a nation, remember the sound of wind whistling through a cold, dark winter camp quiet, steady and unbroken. Because freedom wasn't just won on the battlefields, it was kept alive in the silence of Valley Forge. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as moving as I did, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more moments from history. See you next time.